Let me know if y'all can hear me. I don't think my AirPods connected. So if I sound good, just give me a thumbs up because I've been having issues. Thank you. Think Black women. You see it? Think Black women. I got this shirt from a website called, I think it's called Phenomenally Women. I believe that's what it's called. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna tag it after I get off the live. I'm gonna put where I got the shirt at. They're also the ones who created Phenomenally Women, Phenomenally Black. They created like all these different t-shirts with like logos and things like that on it. So I saw this one because it reminds me of like the corner store bag. They say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I have a nice day. So it just says thank you, Black women. Well yeah, think Black women. So I'm gonna tag it. I got like a few other shirts too. They also have created this shirt, Arrest the Cops That Killed Breonna Taylor. I got that one coming, but it's been on back order because everybody is ordering it. So I'm just waiting for my guests to show up so we can get the show started. I'll move back in a second. I need to sit down. My head is hurting. How is everybody doing? I'm back at work. Well, hey Pumpkin, I'm at work for the time being. I'm physically in the building and my head is hurting from wearing a mask all day and staring at the computer. I don't know what one has to do with the other, but I really feel like it's causing me to have a headache. Shout outs to my mom though. Shout outs to my mother, my beautiful mother, Angel. She is here in my house. She comes here every Thursday to watch my 1-year-old son, who is crazy by the way, and watch him while I do the show. Even when I'm working from home, she comes from work, leaves her job, and comes here to watch my son while I do the live because it's extremely hard to talk on camera with Gray. If anybody has seen Gray come on this camera, he is not cooperating whatsoever. So, shout out to my mom. She's in the room actually. She's in the room watching the show while I'm in the living room doing it. So yeah, just waiting. He can't be late either. Don't come in here late, Terry, because I don't see him yet. I'm going to sit and tell him one more time. I know you here. Don't come in here late. Don't
Yeah,
come in here late.
I'm not late. I'm on time. I'm on
You
time.
1 minute behind. That request was 1 minute behind. I was like, I know he's not gonna be late. Not on the
We're
first
not starting
time.
early. We're not starting early. Let me take off this mask. I just thought it was appropriate to have this mask on
Let me
as we
see.
get started.
Let me see what it says. Oh, I like that. Where you get that? See, we was on the same type of time because see, I actually bought the shirt that says "Arrest the Cops That Killed Breonna Taylor," and it didn't
Yeah.
come in yet. That's why I got this one on. Think Black women. Think Black
See,
women. So I got
mine's
this
my,
on.
my mask delivered today, so I said it was meant to be. I need to put this on.
Damn, I was really
Yeah.
hoping my shirt showed up. I really was hoping. It's like on back order. Well, without further ado, I want to introduce my friend Terry Williams. I'm gonna clap it up. Everybody clap it up in the
Thank
comment
you.
section for him. So I got a
Yes.
couple
Yes.
of I did like a little bit of a poll, a Q&A with the rest of my followers, just asking like, what are the topics did they want to cover? And so a lot of people said like, I want you to get some more of your like your regular followers. And I'm like, well, I do have a lot of people that I know come on and talk about their own life experiences. Some are experts, some are just, taught by life. And people wanted to talk about fatherhood, education, relationships, men and women. And I know you've always been a solid stand-up guy since I've known you since we were like really young. So I was like, let me go ahead and
Appreciate
reach
it.
out because I've seen like a couple of posts that you've done lately with, just basically speaking positive, enlightening on your way. Well, when we were in quarantine, walking to work, trying to
Yep.
enlighten people so they can have a better day. So, where are you from? Originally from?
Harlem, New York. Not New York, New York, from Harlem, New York. You know, we got to specify that, right? From Harlem, New York. Born and
So this
raised.
so this one is for Uptown too. This one tonight is definitely for Uptown too, because if you say you're from New York, we need to know specifically where you're from. And he's definitely
Exactly.
from Harlem. So what do you
Exactly.
do for a living?
So I am a DMIT for the geo market for Foot Locker Incorporated.
Okay.
I've been in the company for about 12 years. And, you know, it works to who I am. I really enjoy interacting with people. I love seeing, you know, the different things, you know, what motivates people, what gets them going, why do they do the things that they do. So I'm actually able to interact with so many different type of people in the different locations that I'm able to go and visit. So yeah, I enjoy it a lot.
Are you working from home now, or are you still going into these locations?
No, I actually go into the locations. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of precautions and stuff like that. I think it's really important, even when you're able to work from home, it's important to go into the stores because we have so many associates and stuff that's actually putting themselves out there on the front lines and stuff like that. So if you have the ability to go into the stores, no matter what you do, well, at least in my profession, I say we should go out there and join the team on the front lines and engage with the people.
And how long have you been doing that?
I've been in this company for 12 years.
I can't believe we're that old to say we've been in somebody's
I
company that
know
long.
time goes by really quick, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I met you when I was like, what, 16? I think it was
Damn,
about
I don't
around that
even want to
time.
date us like this, but yeah, probably 16, 15. I think it was what, through Scan, right? If I'm not
Yeah, we used to
mistaken.
go to Upper Bound program together. I actually live not too far from that now. I live on 102nd Street, but I actually live in the area. I'm on the east side now. And if anybody knows me, I'm originally from Lenox Avenue. I'm from Uptown, but I'm on the east side now. It's whatever. So you're
Well, yeah, I'm from
married,
the east
right?
side, so it's all good.
I know. All right.
Yes.
So how long have you been married?
So I've been married for 5 years next Saturday. So we
Oh,
have an
happy
anniversary coming up.
anniversary.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, we have an anniversary coming up. It will be our fifth anniversary. I don't even know what's the thing I'm supposed to get. Like, is it silver or I have to look that up. I think I'm late. I hope
Don't you
she's
get
not
like a
watching.
I hope she is. She just showed up.
Oh
Aren't you
Lord.
supposed to get like an upgraded ring?
No, this is not right. This is not why I agreed to do this. This is not the
You're supposed to get an
direction we're
upgraded
supposed to be
ring.
going.
I believe you're supposed to get an upgraded ring in 5. Some people say 10, but I feel like we should make our own traditions. 5 is good. You can get an upgraded ring in 5, and then in 10 years you can renew your vows.
Okay, that's something to think about. Let's see how I feel after this 45 minutes is up.
I did it for Miss Williams. I did it for you, girl. I hope you get an upgraded ring. It's only.
Lord
I mean,
have
you might as
mercy.
well. You might as well. We in COVID. There's no vacations happening right now. You might as well upgrade.
Do I get an upgraded ring as well?
I think she'll look. I think she'll hook you up. You want an upgraded ring? I think she'll hook you up. But
Yeah, I want that.
oh my god. So what is it? So what is it? You said you guys have been married for 5 years, correct?
Yes.
And
Yep.
so how long were you guys dating before you got married? You guys were dating for 5 years before you
So
got
we were
married?
dating for no, we were dating for 6 years,
Okay.
like 6 to 7 years, 6.5 years before we got married. I thought the time went by fast. She would say otherwise. Still, I felt like it was the right time. I feel like you have to take your time in these things. I wanted to make sure that we spent some time living in our own apartment together, just growing with each other and seeing where it goes before I actually said, let me propose and get on the knee.
Well,
So
that's smart. That's actually
yeah, it's a
really
good time.
smart. So what is your definition of like healthy black love?
Healthy black love. So it's so many different things that come to mind. I think the three that stand out to me, the first one would be transparency. I think it's like really crucial to be transparent in any relationship, but especially when it comes to love, especially when you're dealing with a spouse. You have to be transparent with them, also transparent with yourself, right? A lot of us say we want certain things, but we really don't want those things, because it comes with a certain sacrifice, it comes with a certain dedication.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for us to be transparent with ourselves and with our mates so they can give us what we want, right?
Right.
And the second thing that comes to mind is being genuine. A lot of times people want the marriage, but it's not real, right? They just want it because they want that title. Oh, I'm married, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have others that sometimes get in relationships and they're like, okay, I had a child with this person, so I'm just going to stay in this and we're going to ride this out because, we have a young one. And that's not real. It's not genuine. It's not organic. So you're setting yourself up for a long road. And it's probably, unfortunately, going to be a failing one because it's not real. And the last one, and this is the most important one to me, is trust. And when I say trust, I'm not talking about infidelity or cheating, but I'm talking about faith, right? You have to have faith in your spouse. You have to be able to say, I have the trust that this person is going to put me before anything and everything. And it has to be a blinding faith because you don't know really. You just have to have the confidence that they're going to do this. And to me, that's what makes Black love different because unfortunately, we went through slavery to just,
Right.
put it out there to be completely honest. And we had our families taken apart. Our woman was raped, we were killed. And it got to a point, and it's crazy because even you look at Meg and Tori's situation, right? And you start going on social media and you see, does the Black man really protect the Black woman? And it's such a you hear, and it brings me all the way back to slavery because I know it was prevalent back then. Are
Mm-hmm.
they really protecting us? And when you get married and you get to that level, you want your wife and your spouse to have the faith and the confidence and the trust that you're doing everything in your power to protect them. As well as if you're the female, you want your husband to have that same type of confidence and faith
Right.
in you. So I think the faith and stuff is like the end all be all to a marriage, and that's what Black love is to me.
Me and my friend were just talking about this earlier today too when it comes down to trust. And I was saying like trust really has to start with you first. Really have to start within yourself, honestly. Like if you don't trust that you've met the right person or that you're dealing with the right person, then you got to do a little bit more soul searching within yourself, because why would you choose someone that wasn't good for you? So it takes a lot of soul searching and a lot of inner soul searching and a lot of loving on yourself, because a lot of times people come into these relationships like, I have trust issues. But even if somebody did something wrong to you, you know what I mean? That's no reflection. That's you shouldn't carry that over. That's something that happened with that own person. Like that's something with that own individual person. Some people have learned behaviors that trigger them to do certain different things, but that shouldn't create a whole trust issue problem for you when it comes to dealing with, the opposite sex. So we just had this whole dialogue about trust and building confidence in yourself that you're making the right decisions and you're actually putting the right people in your life. Because why would you put somebody that's invalid in your circle, or let them into your life, or let them touch your body or any of that? Those are a lot of red flags that you need to go ahead and check in on yourself. I think self-awareness is definitely key. But I'm in a relationship, but I'm not
Transparency
I'm not
too.
married. Yeah, definitely.
That's where
So
that
what
transparency come
examples
in.
what examples of Black love did you witness growing up?
So, I was fortunate enough. I grew up in a two-parent household. Uh,
Okay.
my mother and my father, they were married in 1990, I believe July 30th, 1990. I was 5 at the time. So I was able to, pick up on things from them. And then on top of that, I was fortunate enough. I had a decent amount of people in my family that were married. So, the concept of marriage and stuff was real when it came to my family. Um, with that being said, the irony in that question, though I was able to pick up on, communication skills and knowing that you had to set time apart for your spouse and knowing that you have to be patient and stuff like that. I want to say the things that I learned most was the things that I saw was missing from my parents' relationship. And as I got older, they started to drift apart.
Okay.
And I learned that, and this goes back to the genuine portion of it, they had a lot of love for their children, but the love that
Okay.
they had for each other wasn't there. And it was a quote that I had learned some time ago, and it resonates so much when I think of the Black love that I learned when I was a child. And You have to be not only committed to the person, but you have to be committed to their evolution and where they're
Mm.
going to be years later. And that's not something that a lot of people are able to do, because you can say, look, I'm really into this person at 23, 24.
Right.
Will I be into this person at 35 and 47 and 53, and where they're growing and where they're changing? Am I going to be able to love them and grow with them to that stage? That's difficult. And I think I was able to pick that up from my parents, because it was something that I felt was lacking in their marriage. And it's something that I said, when I finally step into mine, that's something that I'm going to key in on and make sure that it's important in what I'm looking for.
So, what's your definition of marriage?
Again, that it encompasses so much, right? We're talking about patience, we're talking about commitment, we're talking about the transparency. So many things come to mind when you talk about marriage, right? But
Hmm.
again, to me, it still comes all the way back to faith. It comes back to that word, because it for 5 years now, I have to be able to turn my back and trust her with everything, right? I mean,
Mm.
we have two beautiful kids together, right? And
Hmm.
I trust her with them, and they are my everything. And if I can say I trust her with them, then I should be able to trust her with anything else in this world. And that's the blinding faith that you have to have as far as a marriage is concerned. It's weird.
Hmm.
So follow me with this one, right?
Okay.
So I see marriage as an equation for, right?
Okay.
So you're destined for, let's say, the number four, right?
Hmm.
So you're a two, your spouse is a two, right? Y'all perfect. You guys will equal four,
Right.
the perfect equation, right? Some people in the road for love, they say, I don't want a two. I want a higher number. I want to reach higher. So they go for that eight. You're no longer destined for it anymore, because that two plus eight is not equaling four. You went for the higher number, but you're not getting the four anymore. And then you have some people that say, okay, I can't get my two, but I'm going to settle for something close, and I'll get a three or a one. So you can beat a two with the one, but you're not getting that destiny of that four. So for me, true love in marriage is when you're able to pair the two. You get your two, you find your two, and then you could get your destiny of four. And like that's the equation of love to me to equal destiny. You have to find your two. When you can find your two, when you can find your pair, your match, you're good. But you can't really settle for anything else, because the equation won't be perfect for that destiny.
I hope y'all people that struggling in math got that number right. I hope that everybody got that equation correct. Two. He said a two. Find your two. He said find your
Find your
two.
two.
If you're a two, find
Find
your
your
two.
two.
Find your match. Don't go too high and don't go too low. Pay attention,
No.
okay? Find the one that's for you. Find the one that's for you. Y'all better get it together. Why do you think so many men may be against the idea of not even so much marriage? Well, marriage, of course, but just like commitment.
Right?
Hmm.
Um, and I think we are with it.
Hmm.
And when I say that, I mean men and women, not in particular people, but just men and women. And I think it starts when you're a child, right?
Okay.
And let's look at marriage, for example, right? When you're a child and you're growing up, we read these stories to our little girls of the fairy tale, right? Of the princess meeting Prince Charming, right off on the sunset, this, that, and the third. So from birth, they're kind of groomed to this image of this beautiful fairy tale.
Hmm.
For the boys, they're not necessarily into that. I go to my 4-year-old, he wants to hear vampire stories and zombie stories and stuff like that. So he's not really into the fairy tale of the Prince Charming. And we just don't try to really instill that in them.
Right.
So I think from birth it's like that. I had this little thing that I did with a few people that I know. I did it with a few female friends and some guy friends. And I asked them, when I say married couples, who's the first five couples that come to mind, right?
Mhm.
And it's so weird that it played out this way, but the females would say the Obamas, right?
Mhm.
They would say Barack and Michelle. Some said Will and Jada before the entanglement. Uh, they would mention Beyonce and Jay-Z. So, they went to a whole bunch of couples. And then I would ask the guys. And the guys would say, my parents, my best friend, my coworker.
Right.
And what I noticed was the females would pick the image of marriage, right? The perfect
Mm.
look, the barats, what it was supposed to feel, what it's supposed to look like. The guys would pick more of the reality, more of, oh, I see the ups and downs of this. So what happens is we start saying, I'm not sure, we get a little tentative. I'm not sure if I want to step into this because I see the roller coaster ride that it is.
Mhm.
As opposed, and conversely with a female, she's like, the way I look at it is the beautiful Barack Obama, Michelle Obama look. It's the fairy tale, and it's still that way. And I think it's just the image that, unfortunately, we are built on from children. And it's a fairy tale. The other one, it's an afterthought. You get older and you start, getting a little mature to deal with females. But by that time, your mind is already on another page.
I don't think I ever romanticized anybody's
Sorry.
relationship. I don't think I've ever romanticized anybody's relationship like that or anybody's marriage. I don't think I ever looked at any marriage and said that's one that I want. I will say I always said I wish that I loved somebody the way Whitney loved Bobby. Like I always used to say that because that was a different kind of
Yeah,
love. That was the only
you
relationship.
are
Somebody be like, "You're married, Whitney and Bobby." That's the kind of
you are the
relationship that
second
I
person to bring
wanted.
them up. I'm scared of this Whitney and Bobby thing
Because
now.
because you know why? Because I just felt like Whitney just wanted to be loved. So I think that good, bad, or indifferent, as long as Bobby came back home to her, she didn't really care what was going
No,
on.
she
Bobby
didn't.
Brown had so many children outside of their marriage, before they was married and after they was married. And I love Bobby Brown. Me and Bobby Brown are birthday twins. And I swear to God, I'm not messy like that. But I always said I wish that I don't know. There's some women out here that unconditionally love their man. Like their man is like the first thing they think about in the morning, at night, in the middle of the day. I don't know. I don't know. I've never really been like that. I've never really been like that.
if
I
if
don't know.
if if I pose that question to you, and obviously, unfortunately, we already know what I said the results was. But if I had asked you, what's the first five couples you think of, who would have came to mind first?
The first five couples, I would have said my my aunt and my uncle. My aunt and my uncle. Because my uncle Earl is like, the rock to my family. So I love, God bless her soul, my auntie Cookie. You know what I mean? She was everything and anything, and she did everything. And their marriage, seemed to work for them. And my grandfather and his wife, I would say, just the willingness that my grandfather is like, to be able to do and compromise more. But he's older. But these are older people. I don't really have any younger people that I could say, okay, boom, I think that marriage works, or this marriage works. I really haven't really sat back and really thought about it, but I mean, it would definitely be like in the home, like marriages are in home. My mom is married. I would say who else? Who else? My godmother. Like I have some close family members that are married that I could be like, okay, that I can see how this works. But all the women in my family are real like really strong and strong arming and all, so so it'd be like, okay, maybe I don't know if I should, I don't know, but like, yeah, my uncle and my auntie and my uncle Earl were like definitely like ride or die relationship, good, bad, or indifferent. Their relationship was everything. Looking at pictures of them coming up from Jacksonville, Florida, all the way to New York, it was just like, it's like a movie. No, I was not gonna say Beyonce. Honestly, I don't want to know what the hell Beyonce is going through with Jay-Z. I would die. Like the album broke my heart. I would never want to know what she's going through with Jay-Z. So the next question was, why aren't Black marriages and families being promoted a lot in the media? Because growing up, we had the Cosby Show.
Ooh. You know, I was afraid to bring the Cosby Show up, but I guess since you did it, I guess it's okay.
Not Bill, Heathcliff, Huxtable,
Oh,
like the
difference. Okay.
Huxtables, not the
The
Cosbys, the
character.
Huxtables. The character was
The
awesome.
character. Wh- That's a loaded question because it's
Okay.
so many different reasons, and we probably live on why you don't see those families being showcased on TV anymore. But I'll stick to more of the reasoning for us, right? Our
Okay.
accountability in it. Um, and I feel like, to be honest, and it somewhat hurts to say it, but I feel like we're just not entertained by it. Unfortunately, you know, I think, and you mentioned the Cosby Show, right?
Mhm.
You have a father who's a doctor, a mother who's a
Mhm.
lawyer. You
Mhm.
have and a brown skin couple, right? So you don't always get that either. So you have your brown skin couple. You have the kids going to HBCUs. You have
Mhm.
a very close knit family. You would think
Mhm.
this is perfect. And
Right.
even back then, they were getting criticized. Oh, this is not real. This is not
Mhm.
legit. This is not how black families live, right? They're in
Mhm.
Brooklyn. Like, what's the problem? I think as a people, and again, this stems back to slavery, right? As a people, we have a problem when we see some of our own being successful, right? And it doesn't always, and I know sometimes people think success in a monetary way, as far as finances and stuff like that, but success always shows itself in family, right? Having a successful family. And I think
Right.
sometimes we have a problem with actually seeing others have that, unfortunately. And it's something that's like really deep rooted in us. I even think about what Swiss and Timberland is doing right now, right? Versus.
Right. Mhm.
I love it, like most of us, right? Love it. I
Right.
saw you get dressed up for this Brandy and Monica thing. I'm in the house, me and the wife is dancing, like you couldn't tell us nothing, right?
You feel like you
By
at
the
a
way, who you think
concert, a
won?
digital concert. I was Team Monica, but
But
Brandy got bops, so it's a toss up.
yeah,
It's a
so it was
toss.
tough, right? So even with the verses, right? It's something that even Swiss Timberland, they constantly saying this is a celebration of the culture, right? We want
Mhm.
to big up all of our queens and kings and the talent that they have and make sure that they're being recognized for it. With that being said, it is called verses, and all you see is, hey, this person won, that person won, this person is better, that person is better. It's a constant competition that we're always putting ourselves in when it comes to each other. Even when it's lighthearted, it's still a competition thing when it comes to us. When you look at music, it's always you're Jay-Z or Nas, you're Biggie or Pop, right? You go to basketball, you Kobe or LeBron. It's a constant competition that we're putting ourselves in. And even when you think of right, you go
Mhm.
back to W.E. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey, or Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. It's always this person against that person, and they did this to us, but we cannot get over it. And because of that, we hate to see our own successful or being more successful than we are. When you look at these guys, I think Tyler Perry just became a billionaire, right? Or
Right.
he just gained that status recently. And Jay-Z and Beyonce and Puff, we whenever they obtain this status, our culture says, they sacrifice their cousin. He
The
sacrifices his
Illuminati.
baby mother. The Illuminati. You're part of a cult. Like we're not able, intelligent enough, savvy enough to obtain this status like anybody else. They always put it towards, oh, they sacrificed this person. Like,
I'm
no,
trying to
they
think,
obtained this.
have they said anything about any white billionaire or millionaire? I never heard of any white person being part of Illuminati.
And if they are, they don't say that they sacrificed it. I have not heard that. But
I haven't heard
again, that's
anybody that's
us
linked to
putting,
the Illuminati.
it's us doing it ourselves. And it's the damage that we still have from back then. It's so hard. And it's not identical, but it becomes a thing where you're just like, I'm the field Negro, and they've become the house Negro because of the
Uh-huh.
success they obtain. And
Mm.
because of that, we just do not like seeing it on TV. We don't want to see that successful black family. We're now we would be okay to see. good times come back where we're like, oh yeah, they're struggling like we are. Okay, yeah, no problem. That's fine.
That's my
But when you
favorite
look at,
show.
and it's a great
That's
show. I love James, but it,
right.
but we're okay with that. But when you look at Black as Fuck that came on Netflix,
Yes,
that
I was
received
gonna
so
say
much
that.
backlash, and it's like,
It was, I think it was
why?
a lot. It was a lot to digest because I feel, I like the show, but this was based off of his real life. That's, he's also the creator of Blackish. And I think
Yeah,
Blackish is the PG version of his family. And he talks about how he's raising these children, these black
yep.
children in California, and he has money, he has wealth. Like, I'm wealthy, this is what I'm going through. Like, these kids don't know anything about struggle. My black children are privileged. Like, they only time they get to be around people that aren't is when we having the family barbecue. I think it was just maybe a lot for us to digest, to see what we do anyway, so raw in your face. You know what I mean? So raw,
Yeah.
uncut in your face. But I mean, I definitely like the show. But I mean, I guess it's like, it can only be one. That's how they make us feel. Like, there's only one Michael Jordan. It's only one LeBron. It's only one Kobe. It's only one. And they all didn't exist all at the same time either. Because even though LeBron and Kobe played, but Kobe was transitioning out when LeBron, was
Yeah,
there. Kobe had already had some time in.
100%.
When Michael and Kobe was
Yeah.
together, Michael was already about to leave. You can't have all these Negroes in here playing basketball like this. We got to go ahead and transition one of them out. We can't have all of them have these sneakers like this because they all going to be wealthy at the same time. So we got to transition them out. I mean, you think of, I know you watched it, the Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, just
Of course.
how they did Scottie Pippen. I mean, just crazy. Like, I mean, just to hear the background story of how desperate he was to get a contract and how he
Yeah.
just signed himself away and put himself in a contract that wasn't even going to go anywhere. He just was like, I'm going to just sit on the side. And like Michael was like, I don't care if you're sitting on the side. Like, we need you to play. We need you to be a team player. People can't play right when their money not right. That man mom took his money. Like, you can't be playing no basketball and you broke. I don't want to play
It's that
nothing if my
situation,
money is
right?
not right. But I think that the media, like, we only have the Baracks, the Obamas, you know what I mean? We only have that. They only give us one, you know what I mean? So they only want us to think it's only one, like, as if we can't reach that. Like, everybody can't reach that hierarchy right there.
And it's so
So,
many of us.
I mean,
So
definitely
many.
is, but it's just not publicized like that. I mean, unless there's a little
Yeah.
bit of drama. Like, you can't even say anything about a couple without somebody saying, well, there was this, that happened. Like, there's a backlash right behind it. Like, that's a beautiful
Right.
couple, but do you know she this, that, and the third? I mean, it's terrible, but
And no matter how honest it is, because when you look at the Smiths right now, because of, again, the entanglement thing, they're being viewed differently. But for me, listen, that's their marriage. They're comfortable with whatever went down, despite Will Smith's face when he was doing the little interview.
he didn't
They're
look comfortable
comfortable
at
with whatever.
all.
Yeah, he looked a little iffy, but they're married with their kids and stuff like that. So let them be. Let's be proud of who they are because they're still very accomplished black family that did a lot. So, let's not take away from them just because we don't necessarily agree with them. Let's still celebrate it. So,
That's the key word. We're not celebrated as much. We don't celebrate the black family as much as we celebrate the mess. We definitely celebrate the mess. And I'm
I mean,
guilty of it too.
love and hip hop, right?
I'm guilty of it. I call it balance, but we definitely celebrate the mess. Not everybody, but you gotta have the balance. So we talked about your wife, but I wanted to ask you a question. How does she challenge you to be the best version of yourself?
In a lot of ways, I go back to one of your previous questions, and it was, what did I pick up from when, I saw Black love when I was a child?
Hmm.
And I spoke about what I saw was missing.
Right.
And the one thing with my wife, she was able, and I always tell her this, she was able to see where I was going to be before myself, right? To
Mm.
this day, she
She got the
sees a better
eyes.
Terry. She she sees a better Terry than what I envision myself,
Hmm.
right? And that's why I said you can't only be dedicated and committed to the person, you have to be committed to their evolution, committed to their growth. And she would be able to tell me, listen, Terry, you deserve this. Like, this is what's your destiny. Like, And I mean this wholeheartedly. This is how she speaks to me. And whenever we're having conversations, I'm a Cancer, so I'm extremely passionate. My emotions is like everywhere. She's able to keep me composed, and she's able to tell me, "You have this." She breathes confidence into me.
Mm.
Can't speak it in any other way.
So when you do have, if you, and not to be in your business, but like, who do you just confide in about your relationship? I hope it's not George.
I have. Aha! It
And
is
George is our
definitely
friend.
George.
George is our friend.
It's def.
George keeps me on
See,
my
now
toes. I
I'm
could be
gonna
a
be looking for
billionaire
him
and George still.
in the comments.
He's been in the comments the whole time. I swear.
Oh,
George is
see, I
our
haven't caught him.
friend, and George will keep me on my toes. It doesn't matter what is going on in my life. George would be like, "Who you think you are, Rachel from BET?" So if you need a
Yeah,
reality
George is
check,
my
it's
brother, man.
George. So you confide in
George is
George. Who
my
would you
brother.
confide in?
I confide in George. I have a really good support system when it comes to this. I think I used to do music, right?
Hmm.
And when you're doing music and you're recording, you go in a little booth. If you're singing, rapping, whatever instrument you're playing, whatever you're doing, that's your craft, right? Just like it's your marriage. That's your craft. Outside of that booth, though, you always have engineers, and they may tell you, listen, that was perfect. Or they may say, I think you should tweak it a little bit. Do this or do that, or let's work on this, let's work on that. That's what my group is, right? I'm
Okay.
able to go to them, and they're like my engineers. They're able to tell me, look, you probably should tweak this. You probably should do this a little different. Or they say, you know what? You're 100% right. I agree with you. So, and I have a very lengthy group. I had about 10 groomsmen. Probably could have went to 15. So I have a really good support system
That's
when
a
it comes to these things.
village.
Yeah.
It's a little village that you got going
I
on.
mean, that's what it takes. That's what it takes, right?
How important is it that you surround yourself around people that's doing the same thing as you? I know George is married. I know you're married. Like, is majority of your friends married with children?
I would say probably a good split, probably half and half. I think it's definitely beneficial, to
Hmm.
be at the same point in your life, just because they can kind of understand certain things you're going through, and you could just bounce things off of them. They can bounce things off of you like a soundboard, and you can get some clarity on your thoughts. But I wouldn't say that it's vital, right? I think more importantly, you need to have good people around you, right?
Okay.
Someone has to be the first to get married. And, if you're in a group of five and you're the first, the other four are not at the point that you are.
Right.
But as long as you have good people around you, then they will never lead you in the wrong direction, right? When I
Okay.
first got married and I had friends that weren't, they weren't like, hey, T, listen, you ain't going home. We're going to do this. Or, they're not leading you in the wrong direction. They're like, no, this is what it is. This is what you are. This is who you are. So as long as you have the right people around you, that's more important than anything else. Just keep the right people around you. But it is beneficial. I enjoy having my GCL group and my frat family and everybody else around me. So yeah, it's cool.
So we talked about family, we talked about love. So how have you been coping with the pandemic?
That's been tough. So
Really?
again, yeah, I'm a Cancer, like I said.
I
So
never thought that.
listen, Cancers, we have a shell. So the outside doesn't look the way it does the inside. And everything affects us, like everything. So this COVID thing has like put my anxiety through the
Hmm.
roof. But that's why I started to run a lot more. And that's why you see me, doing a lot more runs and getting a little more motivational and stuff like that, because my anxiety kind of skyrocketed because of COVID. And when you add in the social injustice and the layers that brings, it just took it to a whole nother level. I'll tell you a story. I want to say it probably was 2 weeks after George Floyd had passed away. I shouldn't even say passed away, after he was murdered, right?
Right.
About 2 weeks, yeah, let me get that right. 2 weeks after that had occurred, I was sitting at my dining room table. Me and my wife, we was having a conversation, and my 4-year-old son, Tristan, he walked over to us and he said his iPad died. So, I had the kid YouTube thing on my phone. So I said, all right, here's the phone. And me and my wife was having, a serious conversation. So it was like, here, go sit in the living room, sit on the chair as we finished talking. So we continue with our conversation, walk over to the chair, and I look at the phone, and he's on regular YouTube. Now, on YouTube, they have a lot of your. And I look and I see it's a video of the cop on George Floyd's neck. And he didn't press it, but you can see the picture.
Right.
So I take the phone from him and I said, Tristan, this is not kid YouTube. You know better. You go to the kid. So he said, it's okay, Daddy. And I'm like, Tristan, no, it's not. And if you know my son, like, this is how he talks. He's like, no, it's okay, Daddy. Like, it's fine. And I said, Tristan, you should have went to the kids. And he said, Daddy, the cop got the bad guy. He caught the bad guy. And I just looked and I'm like, wow. I looked towards my wife and her eyes, was just full with water at the time. And my son, and I'm like, how do I explain this to a 4-year-old now? Because now I'm like, I don't even know if I could avoid this conversation. Should I proceed with the conversation? I switched the topic at the time because I just wasn't ready for the conversation.
Right.
And later, we would have to have one. But the conversations that we have to have this year with our children, and not only with our children, with each other, it's just so much gravity to it. There's so much depth. Even with, unfortunately, with our Black Panther, passing away, our children's first Black superhero passing away. Yeah. And even with that, I told my wife I wanted to have a conversation with my son about it because he lost his first Black superhero this year. And I really felt like I lost mine when Kobe died. And, he was someone that I admired, and I would watch videos all day. And I lost my first Black superhero the same year my son lost his. And it's just been a tough year, no matter how old you are, no matter where you are. And it's just been especially tough for it's been high anxiety. But
high functioning anxiety, because we still got to move, we still got to do things, we still got to take care of the kids, we still got to keep doing everything we're supposed to do. So we can't even sulk, because we couldn't even quarantine long enough before the doggone riot started and the marches started. It was like, okay, stay at home. Oh, they killing Black people? All right, we out. We going outside. We're going to walk with these masks. We're going to show these signs, because they can't keep killing us like that. All of a sudden, it was like the COVID kind of went to the back seat and the marches kind of went forward now, because we were looting and, rioting and things like that. The media is real funny, though, how they shift things like that all the way around.
All the time. They change the narrative. And if you're not paying attention, you will follow it. So, yeah, it's deep.
Don't overwhelm that baby. He got a lot. Y'all gonna talk about the Black Panther. This is just too much. This is too much for that baby to be going through. And he only, 4 years old?
4 years old. 4 years old.
So right now, we as Black people are really trying to, Black businesses, everything Black owned. We only trying to really just kind of circulate our own dollar right now. So how important is it right now that we continue to support Black only business?
Imperative. Like, even when, you hit me up and you allowed me to be on this platform, that you're doing and stuff like that, I didn't second guess. I said, of course. And, I've never done this before, never been on live. I'm rarely on social media as far as, this type of forum. I said, of course I would do it. You know what I mean? Because it's really in support. And I think, again, going back to the previous conversation, us as Black people, our culture, we have to get comfortable with being able to support each other and encourage and invest in each other's success, and being able to say, your success is my success. You climb up, I climb up, and not look at everything as crabs in a barrel. Like we
Mm-hmm.
have to get out of that eventually, hopefully. Like, and it's imperative. And I mean, I have plenty of friends, and I hope they're in this live right now. If you are, and if you have a business selling clothes, selling sneakers, if you're cooking food, drop some information so the other people can see it. And if you
Yes,
want to
right in the
send me a
comment
DM, I'll
section.
post it. Yeah, like put it out there. We have to support each other. And I'm the type, listen, buy whatever you want. Like I don't care who you can buy whatever brand you want, buy from, as long as they not saying anything crazy. But
Right.
also support us. Also put your money into the people that's going to support you. So yeah, it's important.
So I slipped in another question, but you didn't get to see this question. So I'm gonna ask you this question right now.
All right,
What would you tell your younger
here
self?
we go. What would I tell my younger self? Okay, so I'm going to,
Because you came prepared,
I don't want
prepared.
to ruin,
You was prepared. You was real prepared.
I, here's the thing, I don't want to ruin another question, right? Another question that you may have later. But the same thing I would tell my younger self is the same thing that I would tell my kids about legacy, right?
You
And
real slick, but go ahead.
that was good, right? So
It
look,
was.
but it's honest.
Okay.
I feel like we have to really encourage our youth, support our youth, invest in our youth, no matter what their dream is. Our generation was able to see a black president, the greatest president that we have ever had, right? We were able to live in that lifetime. If we saw that, we should tell them it's literally nothing you cannot do. Nothing. And my guy, like I said, the guy I looked up to, I admired was Kobe. And what he left the younger players, he told them, he said, no matter what you do, be legendary. And that's what I would tell my younger self. And it's the same thing I would tell my kids as my legacy. Be legendary. That's it. No matter what you do, be a legend because you are a legend. That's it.
I would have told myself to learn how to do apps. I definitely would have told my younger self that. But that's just me though. What you said was
you go for
great.
that money.
I would have learned how to do apps. I would have paid attention just a little bit more computer class. But that's definitely you definitely put both questions in together. You real sneaky. I'm gonna let you have it. So lastly,
Thank you.
a gem. A gem. Drop a gem before you leave.
A gem. So I heard a story of a couple years ago, and this is like my favorite story to tell. Whenever we bringing in a new class at work, and whenever I'm talking to people, I'm trying to get them going. I love telling this story, right? And it's kind of perfect because I'm on the Glow Show, and you will see why that makes sense right now. So there was a mother, and she was in the supermarket with her two children. One was 5, one was 8, and they're walking down the aisle of toys. The 5-year-old picks up a glow stick and he's playing with it. He's like, Mommy, can you buy this? Can you buy this? And she says, sure. And he's really excited. The oldest kid takes the glow stick from the younger one, and the younger one starts to cry. Mommy, he took the toy. He took my toy. The oldest says, be quiet. You'll be okay. I'm going to help you. He's like, no, give me my toy back. So then the oldest sits there, pops the toy. So the younger brother says, you broke my toy. I told you to give it to me. You broke my toy. So he starts whining. So the oldest brother says, you just don't understand. You'll realize when you get older. So the younger brother is looking at him to say, what are you talking about? You broke my toy. And the older brother says, you have to realize you have to break things sometimes to see the glow. And to me, that story resonates all the time because that's just how we are in life. That's the trials and tribulations that we go through. But I think it's more prevalent right now in this year. We wasn't necessarily broken, but they tried. But
Right.
it's time for us to start glowing again. Let's glow.
Oh,
That's my
yes. Yes. I want to thank you so much. Now, y'all got to clap it up for my man in the comment section. Clap it up. Look at all our hearts going up there. Yes, yes. I want to thank you again. Thank you so
I
much. This was
appreciate
so
it. Thank
much
you. Thank
fun.
you.
This is going up there with the top 5. Anybody that missed it, please tag all your friends so they can look at it on my IGTV. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you to everybody that shows up here every Thursday at 8 o'clock. Tell a friend to tell another friend to tell another friend to please follow this movement that's happening right now that we are all witnessing. Thank you so much. Thank you and good night. Thank you.
I appreciate it.